I had done a mammogram for a story, and I got a call the morning I'm supposed to come to your supper club event that they had seen something. Yeah. And I cried after our interview. Thankfully, I got good news out of the whole thing, but your team kept in contact with me. They shared resources with me. It was such an odd experience for me because I've always been a fan of yours, but then I really got to feel the impact that you have on this community, because for a second there, I was scared and I was nervous. The fact that you're able to do that for so many women who are scared or who are nervous, I almost can't believe that I'm this lucky to know you and to have you in this community. Welcome to MOMCAST. I'm Emma Jade. Larry Legend, a name fit for the former Cardinals wide receiver, Larry Fitzgerald. You know him, you love him, regarded as one of the NFL's most prolific and popular wide receivers of all time. And for good reason. A career spent right here in Arizona, 17 seasons. But Fitz has always been more than football, using his fame to benefit other people right here in his community. Larry lost his mom, Carol, to breast cancer back in 2003. But year after year, he fights to keep her memory alive, making her proud by helping others, women, children, right here in Arizona. We're coming up on our 15th anniversary of Fitz's Supper Club, a night in Scottsdale to raise money in the fight against breast cancer. So I got to sit down with Fitz at Dominic's Steakhouse. That's where the event takes place. Lots to cover with the legend. But we started the conversation with something that it kind of took me by surprise. Larry played basketball in high school, of course football, but if he could go back in time and do it all over again, he would choose baseball.
Being recruited nationally for any other sport besides football. So I didn't have a choice to play basketball.
Yeah, but if you could have chosen, like not knowing what the future was.
Baseball for sure.
For real?
Yeah, they play.
Yeah, but over football?
No, not even close. Yeah.
But you're just thinking money.
No, I'm thinking like
you loved it more.
No, I just think I like their lives better.
Why?
Because they don't have the notoriety. They kind of like.
Dude, you're so weird.
No, you see baseball players. They move around. Nobody bothers them. No, seriously, it's like a really simple chill.
Emma, do you know the name Mike Trout?
Yeah, of course. Okay. Well, you don't want me to know?
No, it's like he's one of the best baseball players on the planet, and yet I guarantee most people couldn't pick him out of the lineup.
See, I couldn't, but I know the name.
Yeah.
But that, I feel like, is what's so interesting about you. And we're starting, if you're okay with it. Okay. I mean, I think about when you stopped playing football and how, like, just as a fan, obsessive fan, I was, like, not ready for you to go. And I still am not, like, since you haven't had like an official declaration, I'm still like, well, could come back next season. Why did you go out that way? What about it like felt good to you?
There's a couple of things. Like we're in the midst of the worst pandemic that most of us have ever experienced in our lives. Like literally, I played in front of no people. Like there was beginning of the year, there was nobody in the stadium. Like there was much bigger issues and much bigger concerns, you know. Our kids couldn't go to school. Like you're homeschooling, I'm homeschooling. Yeah. You know, like it just didn't seem right, you know, to make a spectacle out of it with our country hurting the way it was hurting. And you know, like I see so many people who work their entire lives. They don't get a send off. You know, like I was very thankful. I am thankful. That's why I'm here. You know, this is our 15th anniversary here. Raising money for local charities here. This is something I'm really important about. This is my home. I'm not going anywhere. I'll be here until they put me in the box one day. And so, like, Arizona is where I want to be. Is where I spend my time. And like, I don't think that was a reflection of how I felt, but it was more so about the time and what was important and what our country was going through.
Do you have any regrets looking back at that time?
As a country?
No, just of you being done with something that was like your whole identity for so many seasons. I mean, you were with the Cardinals for forever. You and the Cardinals are synonymous.
Oh yeah.
So looking back, is it hard to be like, wow, I just went off and started some other things?
No, not at all.
Oh my gosh.
No,
I can't believe that.
You know, you prepare yourself, you know, mentally. You know, I knew, you know, maybe a year before that was probably going to be my last year.
Yeah.
And so, like, just doing the work to kind of, you don't ever want anything to be your identity, right?
No.
You don't want, you know, people to think all you are is you know, a wonderful broadcaster or TV personality. Like, you're a mother of four, you're a survivor. Like, you've done so many wonderful things. Like, this just happens to be one of the pieces of the puzzle, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think you're proving that, obviously, with what we're going on our 15th.
Yeah.
It's pretty incredible that you have devoted your life to not just living out your mom's legacy, but even beyond that, Larry. Like, you are just throwing everything you have into the community that you weren't even raised in Arizona. You played here and you represented us so well, and you could have left. You could have gone back home. What keeps you here?
Well, I still do a lot at home, and I definitely get out of here for about 4 months a year when it's unbearable. I do, so I don't want to make it seem like I'm fighting through the summers and things of that nature. But no, you know, I came here as a 20-year-old kid, and I had been here one time before, you know, for a wedding of my uncle, and that was my experience of Arizona, right? You know, I knew about the Grand Canyon, you know, I knew about, you know, Dan Marley, Charles Barkley, Kevin Johnson. I knew about Randy Johnson and Luis Gonzalez.
Yeah.
I knew about Arizona, right? But you know, I hadn't really had any experiences, so I came out here, and the people were just so nice to me.
Still to come right here on MOMCAST with Larry Fitzgerald. I had done a mammogram for a story, and I got a call the morning I'm supposed to come to your supper club event that they had seen something. And I cried after our interview. Thankfully, I got good news out of the whole thing, but your team kept in contact with me. They shared resources with me. It was such an odd experience for me because I've always been a fan of yours, but then I really got to feel the impact that you have on this community, because for a second there, I was scared and I was nervous. The fact that you're able to do that for so many women who are scared or who are nervous, I almost can't believe that I'm this lucky to know you and to have you in this community. You weren't even raised in Arizona. You played here and you represented us so well, and you could have left. You could have gone back home. What keeps you here?
Well, I still do a lot at home, and I definitely get out of here for about 4 months a year when it's unbearable. I do, so I don't want to make it seem like I'm fighting through the summers and things of that nature. But no, you know, I came here as a 20-year-old kid, and I had been here one time before, you know, for a wedding of my uncle, and that was my experience of Arizona, right? You know, I knew about the Grand Canyon, you know, I knew about, you know, Dan Marley, Charles Barkley, Kevin Johnson. I knew about Randy Johnson and Luis Gonzalez. I knew about Arizona, right? But you know, I hadn't really had any experiences, so I came out here, and the people were just so nice to me. I mean, everywhere I would go, I know people were, you know, if you need a realtor, if you need a housekeeper, if you need landscaping, I go to places. They were just like accommodating, you know, because I realized Arizona, most people that move here are from the Midwest. You know, you got a lot of Michigan and Wisconsin and Iowa and Minnesota and Missouri, and like really personable, family-oriented people that have moved down here, and like that's what I got when I got here, and that's why I loved it.
When did it feel like home? After how many years did you finally feel like, oh, like I want to invest my life, my everything into Arizona? I mean, you're raising your kids here.
Yeah, I think about 2008 when we went through that deep playoff run, and I went from just being like probably a local athlete, and it felt like it kind of shifted to something else. You know, people dropping off cookies at my house, and people writing me handwritten notes and putting them in my mailbox. And it wasn't people talking to me about, I love the way you catch a football. It was other things that were a lot more personal, you know, about who I was as a person, and like those things really started making me feel like I was actually really a part of this community, not just somebody who was brought here to entertain the masses, right? And I think that was definitely a seismic shift that year for me.
You started Supper Club in honor of your mom. You're doing this for so many other people, but what has it done for you? What has Supper Club done for you?
Well, I think it's given me a sense of purpose. And, you know, growing up, my mother was huge in the philanthropy, and I was just kind of like drug along the whole time to kind of do what she did. I'd much rather be like your kids out playing and enjoying sports and hanging with their friends, but I was like, no, we got to go do this. And, you know, as I got older, you begin to appreciate, you know, the lives that you were able to touch. And, you know, I saw a lot of people suffer. And, you know, some of the brightest moments were times that we were spending with them. And, you know, some people were moving from different places to get treatment in Minnesota because it was known for their health care. And, you know, they had no family support, and we were their family support. And so it made us closer as a unit. You know, it made us appreciate the time that we had together, because you see how life can just, I always say life just lifes, right? You know, you're not expecting things to happen, and you just got to deal with the best you can. And I saw my mom really step up for a lot of people, and I knew that, you know, if I ever had the privilege of one day having a platform and one day having the ability to have my own resources that I could pour back into causes that I felt were worthy, I was going to do it. And, you know, but Mom set a really, really good example for my brother and I to follow.
So we think about last year. I had done a mammogram for a story, and I got a call the morning I'm supposed to come to your supper club event that they had seen something. And I cried after our interview. Thankfully, I got good news out of the whole thing, but your team kept in contact with me. They shared resources with me. It was such an odd experience for me because I've always been a fan of yours, but then I really got to feel the impact that you have on this community, because for a second there, I was scared and I was nervous. The fact that you're able to do that for so many women who are scared or who are nervous, I almost can't believe that I'm this lucky to know you and to have you in this community.
Yeah, it's very kind of you to say, and I remember that conversation vividly. You know, I was taken back that you would be so transparent, open, you know, sharing that with me in such a vulnerable time, and you know, I really appreciated that you would do that. And you know, first of all, I'm happy that you're healthy.
Yes,
you know, as an Arizonan, like we wouldn't be right not seeing you, you know, brighten the days of so many every day. But you know, that's what we really aim to do, is just try to, you know, make sure that people don't have to suffer, and they do have an outlet to turn to when, you know, they're faced with some adversity. And like I'm just very thankful to be able to have Danielle, who, you know, had her own battles with breast cancer.
Yes,
and
is she here? Yes.
She has an intimate understanding of what it's like to be in that person's shoes, and to be able to lean on her to get insight about you know, what it's like and what we need to do to support the whole family nucleus, you know, because it's not just you going through it, it's your husband, it's your kids, it's your community, your mom and your dad. Everybody wants to be a resource to be able to help you get through what you're going through. And so, like, holistically attacking it, you know, I wouldn't be able to have that understanding without her. And,
see, and that's what I think is so different about Supper Club, is it's not just we're just raising money and it's going to an abyss of who knows where it's going. Like, you have survivors and people who are going through this and actually know where I'm supposed to go. Like, Daniela, was it you that was texting me, telling me on where I should go or what hospital I should go to? Like, this is a real charity that's helping real people.
We've been very fortunate to have people that have spent a lot of time, you know, and our Breast Believe campaign has brought us in contact with other organizations in the Valley who we partner with, and we really are big on partnering as well. We have a great initiative that I can't talk about yet, but it's coming online here in a few months that is going to even help us further, you know, our mission, you know, and expand it, you know, to not only reach the amount of people that we're doing, but maybe thousands of people that we can serve. And like, that's our goal, is to be able to partner with other organizations that can also teach us. You know, this is a learning, you know, and this is an open book test. We want to be able to take in as much as we possibly can to be able to fight the fights that we need to fight.
Still to come right here on MOMCAST with Larry Fitzgerald.
I keep her, you know, every day I walk out of the house and I put my wallet in my pocket. You know, she's with me. This is her last driver's license that she had. I remember taking it, you know, at her bedside, you know, at the hospital, and she's been with me ever since. And so, you know, whenever times are difficult or I feel like I'm losing direction, I always just look at it, and you know, she's able to inspire me and motivate me to continue to fight the good fight.
What do you tell your kids about her?
I always, Paulo, my middle son, always asks me questions about her, and all of them are so positive. From, one of my great early memories is my dad didn't want me to play sports at all. He didn't want me to play football in particular because he thought it was a little bit too rough. We've been very fortunate to have people that have spent a lot of time, and our Breast Believe campaign has brought us in contact with other organizations in the Valley who we partner with, and we really are big on partnering as well. We have a great initiative that I can't talk about yet, but it's coming online here in a few months that is going to even help us further, our mission, and expand it, to not only reach the amount of people that we're doing, but maybe thousands of people that we can serve. And that's our goal, is to be able to partner with other organizations that can also teach us. This is a learning, and this is an open book test. We want to be able to take in as much as we possibly can to be able to fight the fights that we need to fight.
It's just so inspiring. There's so many people who are affected by breast cancer, and so many people who, have to go through this tragedy. Do you think that this brings you closer to your mom? It must.
Without a doubt. She's with me every single day. I keep her. Every day I walk out of the house and I put my wallet in my pocket. She's with me. This is her last driver's license that she had. I remember taking it, at her bedside, at the hospital, and she's been with me ever since. And so, whenever times are difficult or I feel like I'm losing direction, I always just look at it and, she's able to inspire me and motivate me to continue to fight the good fight.
What do you tell your kids about her?
Paulo, my middle son, always asks me questions about her, and all of them are so positive. From, one of my great early memories is my dad didn't want me to play sports at all. He didn't want me to play football in particular because he thought it was a little bit too rough. And I never forget, my dad went to Chicago. He was covering the Minnesota Twins and the White Sox, that series in Chicago. So he was gone, and it was like around early July, around July 4th time. And I was like, Mom, training camp is about to start. I really, really want to play. Like, all the rest of the kids in school are doing it. And she's like, your dad doesn't want you to. It's like, I know, but he's not here right now. And they're starting practice today, Mom. Please take me. And that just underscores who she was. She always fought for us. She always stood behind us. And I remember my dad got home, and he came over to pick us up from practice. And he saw me out there having a good time and dominating as a little 7-year-old. And he got in the car. He was like, Larry, I didn't want you to play, but seeing you this happy makes me happy. So she always fought for us, and I miss that. I miss that.
Now you're continuing her fight. Okay. I cannot thank Larry enough for that interview. Of course, second time in a row that we've had tears during our interview, but I think that just goes to show how much he cares about what he's doing, the passion he has by supporting charities who help women fighting breast cancer and kids right here in our community who just need a safe, happy outlet. The 15th annual Fitz Supper Club is set for Monday, April 28th at Dominic's Steakhouse. Can you believe it has been 5 years since Larry Fitzgerald last played in the NFL? Our 12 News sports anchor Cameron Cox tells me that means he is eligible to become a Pro Football Hall of Famer in 2026. And he's expected to be a first ballot inductee. You heard my interview with Larry, but we hardly talked about sports. I left that to my brother Cam. I wanted to show you his interview with Larry.
How about the Larry chants? No matter where you go, you hear him at the Phoenix Open. You showed up at a football game for the first time in a while, and they showed you for 5 seconds. And I swear for the next 5 minutes, all we heard was Larry, 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 which was good to hear in the stadium because we haven't heard it in a while.
No, it was fun to get out to a game. That was my second home game I've been to. My kids were on me like, Dad, the Buccaneers are coming to town. Tom Brady might be his last year. So I was like, okay, we got to go. So we went to that game. It was always good to get back. And, Michael was kind enough to invite me out, and my son was being honored for Nike Next One. So it was great to be back in the building, watching Buda Baker flying around, making plays still. And, You know, watching Marvin do his thing and seeing Trey McBride just be the dominant force that he is. It's like, you know, there's a lot of things you just sit back and you're appreciative to be able to watch and witness.
All right, as a fellow receiver, how would you look at Marvin's year? I feel like there were some unfair expectations on him a little bit, and people thought he should have all these numbers. But when you look at the numbers, I mean, it was a good year for a rookie receiver. How'd you look at it?
Yeah, I mean, I thought it was a really good year, and I look back to my rookie year and like how much better and dominant of a player he was than I was as a rookie. You know, I didn't have nearly the pressure or the stress, you know, that he had. You know, I came in, it was uncertain who was going to play quarterback. You know, he's got an all-pro quarterback in K1, right? I had the luxury of having, from the year past, Anquan was the rookie of the year. He had 1,400 yards, over 100 catches, 8 touchdowns.
That took a lot of pressure off.
That took a ton of pressure. Like, he didn't have that luxury of coming in here with a solidified, bona fide number one, and you can kind of just slide in. And he was thrown right in as the number one option from day one. He walked in the building.
Other teams treated him like that. They bracketed him all day.
All day. And, so I didn't experience that. So, you know, I think he did an unbelievable job. Obviously, there's things that he will want to improve on, but I think he put a really, really good rookie campaign out there.
You mentioned K1. What did you see from him that goes to show you that he can be this franchise quarterback moving forward?
Yeah, I mean, he balled. I mean, I think he was a lot more consistent this year. You know, I know he's got a lot of good football ahead of him, and, you know, I hear a lot of good things, you know, about him in the locker room and, you know, the steps he's taken as a leader, and I'm excited about the future. You know, Monty's done a great job of constructing that roster. Obviously, you know, the defensive front was decimated early in the year, and the way that defense performed all year consistently, and I don't care what the score of the games were, like, they were always fighting their off every single week. Every single week, just so much fire in them, and you know, you got to love a team that plays with that kind of passion.
Anything come to mind that's really memorable from a fan? I went back in our archives, and man, so many times at a game, you played catch with the kid. I remember in Green Bay one year, the kid was crying next to his dad because he was freezing. We were all freezing in Green Bay. You just started tossing the ball with him, and he stopped crying. Like, that was always something you made a point to do.
I was that kid, though. I mean, I'll never forget, you know, before a game, Barry Sanders talking to me, asking me how my grades are, or you know, Michael Irvin, you know, putting his hands up to mine at the beginning. He said, "Man, you're a big kid. What position you play?" Like, receiver. Put your hands up. Hey, remember Michael Irvin, right? Like, literally before he's about to go out and play in the game, doing that to me. And Jerry Rice, you know, giving me his gloves after a game at a Metrodome game. So, like, the guys treated me so well, it actually, like, made me want to do that much more, right? You know, and be that kind of person if I ever experienced it with other people. So, and I was just, you know, modeling what I saw.
And my thanks to Cam, and of course, Larry. You can bet MOMCAST will be on the red carpet at his event that's coming up in April. Thank you for watching MOMCAST. I'm Emma Jade. We'll see you next week.